Hello students, today we will describe about the prostate gland. Okay. In our theoretical video we have described the theoretical portion of the prostate gland. Now we will pass on to the demonstration of the prostate gland. As I have said in my previous video that prostate is a fibromusculoglandular organ and situated below the neck of the urinary bladder and about 2.5 centimeter behind the lower part of the symphysis pubis. So, this is a viscera of the male urinary bladder along with the prostate. This is the prostate. Okay, this is shaped like inverted cone and which is described as a chestnut. In the pelvis, whatever I have described, if we see this pelvic bone, in the pelvic bone it is situated within the lesser pelvis. Okay, within the lesser pelvis it is situated and it is situated below the neck of the bladder. This is the urinary bladder and here this is the neck part. Here this is the neck part. Okay, and below the neck part this prostate gland is situated. This whole part is the prostate gland. Okay, and this is the urinary bladder, and in the region of the neck this prostate gland is attached, and below that in the pelvis, if we place it in the pelvis, below that part there is the superior layer of the urogenital diaphragm in this region. Okay, and on the two side there is levator ani muscle. On this two side there is the levator ani muscle. So in the pelvis, if we place it, again I am placing within the pelvis. From the below part, if we see, below that there is the superior layer of the urogenital diaphragm. On the two side, in this side and in this side, there is levator ani muscle, and behind, that is on the posterior aspect, in this aspect there is the ampulla of the rectum. Okay, so this is the position of the prostate gland within the pelvis. Now its weight is 8 gram, length is 3 centimeter, breadth is 4 centimeter. So breadth is greater than the length. So what are the other structure that has breadth greater than the length? One is cecum, another is celiac trunk. Okay. Now regarding the covering, what I have described, on the outer aspect there is the, from within outwards there is true capsule, and true capsule is formed by the fibrous part of the gland, and on the outer side there is false capsule, that is the sheath formed by the visceral layer of the pelvic fascia and posteriorly on the rectovesical fascia. As I have said, on the posterior aspect there is rectum, and between the rectum and the urinary bladder there is a fascia called the rectovesical fascia. So these are the covering of the prostate. Now what are the ligaments attached to it? There is medial puboprostatic ligament and lateral puboprostatic ligament is attached with it. Now what are the parts? The parts of the prostate are, number one, apex. This is the apex, and this part is the base. Okay, base is attached to the neck of the bladder, and there is a venous plexus sitting within it, and within the, through the base the urethra. This was the interior of the bladder. From there the urethra is coming and passing through this prostate gland. So this part is called the prostatic urethra. Okay. This part is called the prostatic urethra. So urethra is passing within the prostate gland. Now apex. Apex is situated on the superior layer of the urogenital diaphragm, and this urogenital diaphragm separates it from the membranous urethra and sphincter urethrae membranosae. Now regarding the surface, it has an anterior surface. This is the anterior surface. Number 2, posterior surface. This is the flat posterior surface. Okay. On the two sides there is two inferiolateral surface, one inferiolateral surface and another inferiolateral surface. So there are 4 surface. One is anterior surface. Okay. There is two inferiolateral surface, another is posterior surface. Okay. Now anterior surface, this is separated in the pelvis. It is placed like this. Okay. So anterior surface, this is the anterior surface. This anterior surface is separated from the pubis bone, this area, through pubis, from the pubis bone by retropubic pad of fat, and in which lies the tip dorsal veins of the penis. The part of the gland forming this surface, this part forming the surface, connects the two lateral lobes. These are the two lateral lobes. This part connects the two lateral lobe and it is called the anterior lobe. Okay, this part. The lobe is fibromuscular, that is, no glandular tissue is present within it. The surface is pierced by the urethra a little above its apex. If we see this anterior surface, this surface is pierced by the urethra, as I have said. Okay, this part from this area, the urethra is piercing. Okay. Now posterior surface, it is divided by a horizontal groove. This is the posterior surface. In the posterior surface there is a horizontal groove. Here in this viscera, that part is cut to see the interior of the viscera. There is a horizontal groove. Okay. Along this line there is the horizontal groove. And this horizontal groove divides it into upper small part and lower large part. This lower large part again divided by a vertical groove into two lateral lobes. Clear? Near the midline of the horizontal groove there is a meeting of the vas deferens with the seminal vesicle. In this specimen, if you look this specimen, these are the vas deferens. Okay, these are the vas. These two are the vas, and there is the seminal vesicle beside it. These are the seminal vesicle on this side, and this is the another seminal vesicle. These two are piercing on this aspect, on this posterior surface. Now the surface is separated from the ampulla of the rectum by rectovesical fascia. As I have said, in the pelvis there is, on the posterior aspect, in the pelvis there is, just a minute, in the pelvis there is, on the posterior aspect, there is presence of rectum in this region, and here is the rectovesical fascia that is separating the posterior surface of the prostate from the ampulla of the rectum. Okay. Now, so these are about anterior and posterior surface. Now regarding the lateral surface, the lateral surface is separated on the two sides by the levator, related to the on the two sides by the levator ani muscle and also by loose areolar tissue. A few fiber of the levator ani blend with the prostate, forming the levator prostatic. Lobes of the prostate, regarding, if we discuss, as I have said in my previous video, there are surgically and anatomically the lobes are divided. According to anatomical division, there are anterior lobe and two lateral lobe, also posterior lobe. Regarding surgical division, there is also median lobe and other anterior posterior lobe, these are also present. Now in clinical view, median lobe is the most important lobe because this median lobe causes benign hypertrophy of the prostate or benign prostatic hyperplasia. So this median lobe is bounded anteriorly by the urethra. Okay, anteriorly by this urethra. If we open this bladder again, in this region anteriorly there is the urethra, posteriorly by the prostatic utricle. I am coming to the prostatic utricle later. Laterally by the ejaculatory duct, and this median lobe projects into the bladder behind the internal urethral orifice. Here the median lobe is projecting within the urinary bladder, forming uvula vesicae. Okay. So if we see, these are the main features about the prostate, that is the base, apex, anterior surface. This is the anterior surface, this is the posterior surface, this is the posterior surface, and this is the two inferiolateral surface. And regarding the lobes, whatever I have described. Now if we cut along the anterior surface to see the interior of the prostate, what we will see? As I have described in my theoretical discussion, there is a two ejaculatory duct that will open by the side of the colliculus seminalis or verumontanum. This part is the colliculus seminalis or verumontanum. Now there is the two ejaculatory duct. The opening of the ejaculatory duct is very teeny, so we cannot differentiate in this specimen. Okay. Now there is prostatic utricle, and that is a mucus pouch opening into the center of the colliculus seminalis. This colliculus seminalis, if you see this viscera, within this viscera there is a prominent swelling. Okay, this part, can you see this part? This is known as the colliculus seminalis. It is a swelling on the urethral crest on the posterior wall of the prostatic urethra. The prostatic utricle lies behind the median lobe of the prostate, and its length is 6 mm. Okay. So if I again open this area, that is the prostatic urethra, there is a vertical ridge coming from the interior of the urethra vertically, that is the urethral crest. Okay. In the urethral crest in the midline there is colliculus seminalis, prominent part, this prominent part. On the two sides there is a gap called the prostatic sinus. Okay. Now developmentally, the prostatic utricle represent the persistence of the lower fused end of the two Mullerian duct, which were responsible for the formation of the vagina in female. Hence this utricle is said to be the vagina in the male, which is known as the vagina masculina. Okay. Now there are the glands of the prostate that are opening in the prostatic sinus in different group. In this prostatic sinus, that is upper group, middle group and lower group. So structure piercing the prostate, there are two structures. Number one, prostatic urethra and two ejaculatory duct on the two sides of the colliculus seminalis. Okay. Now regarding the structure, there are fibrous structure, muscular layer and glandular structure. These are all about the demonstration of the prostate gland. So in gist, prostate has base, apex, anterior surface, two inferior surface and one posterior surface. If we cut open along the anterior part, then we will see the colliculus seminalis, this prominent part, and urethral crest. These are visible, but opening of the ejaculatory duct is not visible. And arterial supply of the prostate is inferior vesicle, middle rectal, internal pudendal. These are all branches of the internal iliac artery. And regarding venous drainage, veins drains into the prostatic venous plexus, in which deep dorsal vein of the penis open. From the prostatic venous plexus, veins go to the vesical venous plexus around the neck of the bladder, and veins from it go to drain the internal iliac vein. Some veins, that is known as the vein of Batson, from the gland pass through the anterior sacral foramen and drain into the vertebral venous plexus, through which the metastasis of the prostate passes through the vertebra. Lymphatic drainage. Regarding lymphatic drainage, it drains into the external and internal iliac lymph node. From the posterior surface, it goes to the external iliac lymph node. One from the anterior surface go to the internal iliac lymph node. Okay. So regarding changes of the size, at birth it is small in size and starts increasing in size after 14 years of the age, increase in the male. At puberty it becomes double in size, and from 30 to 40 years involution starts and amyloid body increases in number, and after 45 to 50 years senile atrophy or benign hypertrophy appears within the prostate. Okay. So when the median lobe of the prostate enlarge, this uvula vesicae, that is the part of the median lobe that is coming within the bladder, it blocks the internal urethral orifice. This is the position of the internal urethral orifice. If this median lobe enlarges, that blocks the internal urethral orifice, causing retention of the urine. In such cases, there will be loss of control of the internal urethral sphincter, and urine will trickle down into the urethra, causing frequency of micturition. Okay. And in cases of carcinoma or prostatic metastasis can occur through this paravertebral veins of Batson into the vertebral venous plexus and that affect the vertebra. In this way, metastasis can spread to brain via this vertebral venous plexus. These are applied aspect of the prostate. So with this I am concluding the demonstration of the prostate. Okay, thank you.